Do you like to have control? Do you want to have control? Or do you need to have control? Which one is it? Because what I really want to know is, why do you need to hold all the power? Well, you think you have all the power, and others help you believe that you have all the power. But I want to specifically know, why do you need to be in control of everything and everyone, including yourself? What is the harm in losing control? Now, before I proceed forward, I want you to know that when I'm talking about control and losing control, in no way, shape, or form am I implying that you should cause yourself any harm mentally, physically, emotionally, or spiritually. I'm talking about another set of circumstances. Typically, when people think lose control, you think of angry outbursts, you think of violent reactions, you think of loss. No, I'm not talking about any of that. There are circumstances in which you can safely and securely lose control and or have control. And that is what I'm talking to you about today. So let's get that shit very, very clear. I am not advocating you to cause any harm or have any harm come toward you. So let's get back to it. A number of us are skilled of being in control, of having power, of leading others, steering the herd, shepherding things and people, because it's a natural gift, it's a skill that you have. And others, you don't have it. So you follow the leader, and that's okay too. But with everything in life, there's a balance. And for those who like to stay in control, I want to know, can you lose control? See, you're confused because you can't fathom a circumstance or a situation in which you can safely, securely lose control and not cause harm to yourself. And I understand, but by the time I'm done with this, you will understand. You see, what does control give you? The first things that pop to my mind is safety, security, power, right? You like all those things, especially the power part. It inflates and boosts your ego. It makes you feel that anything is possible. You feel a higher sense of self-worth and self-esteem when you're able to see what you're able to achieve and how you're able to shepherd the herd in the direction that you think is in their best interests. But what happens when you lose the reins? What happens when you let go of the reins? What happens when the reins are taken from you? Can you handle that shit? Do you know what to do with it? Can you ride the wave? Can you? Of course you don't have an answer for me. You see, sometimes in life, those who have control over so much for so long, you are going to encounter circumstances or people in which you have no control over. Yes, you have no control over. And then what the fuck do you do? Are you scared? Do you run away? Do you approach? Do you lurk? What do you do? What's your natural, instinctual response? I would think some of you will pause, and other of you will probably run the fuck away because you don't know what to do. It's unfamiliar to you. But what's wrong with being in an unfamiliar situation? Huh? We all like new. It's exhilarating. It's titillating. What's wrong with new? Well, let me tell you what you do when you encounter a situation or a person that you cannot control. You surrender. Surrender? You don't like that word, do you? That's for punk bitches, right? That's for weak ass motherfuckers. No. You see, again, you misunderstand. When I say surrender, I'm not saying you surrender to a circumstance or situation that's going to cause you harm. No. If you know in your instincts that a situation is not going to cause you harm, then why are you fighting it? Why are you fighting to have control? Why are you fighting to get your arms and hands around something that is greater and bigger than you? You can't do shit about it. So a real smart motherfucker would realize, okay, if this is not going to cause me any harm, and I can't do shit about it, and it's not going any motherfucking place, then you surrender. Yes, you surrender. How do you surrender? Acceptance. You accept the fact that you can't do shit about it and it's not going anywhere. So you ride the motherfucking wave. You see, sometimes in life, there are circumstances and people that are your match. And what do you do when you have met your match? Because basically your match means the other person, situation is you. And since you cannot be controlled, why in the hell do you think you can control the other person or the thing? You can't do shit about it. If no one can control you and you have met your match, then naturally it makes sense that you surrender. You surrender to you. Very easy. So how do you wrap your brain around the process of surrendering? And how can you even benefit from surrendering? Well, if it's a situation that's not going to cause you any harm in any way, shape, or form, and you already established that, then what is it that you need to control? You let it just wash the fuck over you. You let it take over you and do as it please. Oh, confused. Again, yeah, you're confused. If you can't control the force, you can't stop an earthquake, you can't stop an avalanche, you can't stop a tsunami, but you can ride that motherfucking wave. That is called surrendering. You see, you cannot go against something that's more powerful than you. What you can do is you can harness that energy, that situation for your benefit. Now you have to naturally deal with your fear, your insecurity about what is going to happen, what is it going to look like, and when it's going to happen. These are situations and questions that you want answers to, but sometimes you're not going to get answers to those questions. All you can do is ride the wave and see where the fuck you end up. And if you've already established that you're safe and you're secure, why run? Why hide? Why question? Why even try to understand the shit? What is it that you need to understand? People who like to be in control naturally have instincts. Instincts. So if you trust your instincts and you get out of your head, then it becomes a much easier process. You see, but our egos get in the way. Our egos think that we can take energy and momentum, people, places, and things, and we can steer it in the direction that we want to. But I'm here to tell you, there will be a day, a time, a person, a place that you can't do anything about. You need to sit on that. You need to marinate on that shit. You can't do anything. All you can do is let the fuck go. Because you've already been captured. You've been raptured. There's nothing you can do about it. So all you can do is hop the fuck on the train and go for the motherfucking ride. Yes, go for the ride. Put your blindfold on, strap yourself in, and go for the ride. Because the fact that this has presented itself to you means it is time for you to have a different type of experience. And that experience means that you don't have control, because there's something greater than you that is steering this and leading you in the direction. That is where the term blind faith comes from. Blind faith, yes. You trust your instincts, you trust the ride, and you know that your best interests are going to be met, are going to be taken care of. But when you fight things and you go against it, you create frustration. You create stress. And why do you need frustration and stress? If you know that you're already taken care of and it's for your well-being, let go. Let go. Because when you let go, that frees you the fuck up to receive what the fuck you're supposed to receive. Listen to what I said. If you're too busy holding the steering wheel, the helm, trying to steer something that you have no motherfucking control over, you're wasting your time and your goddamn efforts, and instead you could be enjoying yourself. But instead of enjoying yourself, you're miserable, you're frustrated, you're taking all this time spinning your motherfucking wheels trying to figure out, how do I get ahead of it? How do I corner it? How do I overpower it? Sometimes you can't overpower anything, because when you've met your match, when you're up against you, what are you going to do about it? You can't do shit about it. What can you do about you? You can't do anything. So all you can do is sit back and smile and be grateful for the fact that you have enough goddamn intelligence to realize, I can't do anything about me. This is greater than me. So how do I make the best of a situation that I know is in my best interest? You see, when you try to control, when you're not supposed to control, all that's going to do is create hiccups in your life, challenges, hindrances, and obstacles. There is a time where you need to control, and there's a time where you need to let go. And I think we need to learn how to surrender. Surrender. Be able to identify things and people that you need to surrender to. And enjoy the shit. Because when you don't have to fight and you keep motherfucking fighting, your life is passing you the fuck by. It's going to pass you the fuck by. And then you're going to turn around and look and say, what the fuck happened? What the fuck happened is you were wasting your time, energy, and effort trying to do some shit that you couldn't do. So that means you were stacking yourself up for failure. So what is the moral of this story? Those who don't like to have control, you're going to find yourself in circumstances or with people in which you may have to take control. And can you step the fuck up to the motherfucking plate? Can you step up to the plate? Because we need to be balanced as people. We have to learn how to control and how to surrender. And we have to be able to identify the situations in which we control and we surrender. And when I say surrender, maybe it's 50 Shades of Grey for y'all motherfucking asses. I don't know. But you need to know when to surrender and what the fuck you're going to surrender to. Because then that means you are ready to receive. And when you are ready to receive, then a tsunami is going to naturally flow over you. And you should be in utter bliss. But if you fight a tsunami, you drowned. When you try to control a wave instead of riding that wave, you drowned. You can possibly get very injured. So when you surrender, first you identify, is this possibly more than likely in my best interests? How do you know it's in your best interests? It makes you feel really, really, really good. And if it does consistently, then that is a clue for your asses to sit the fuck back and relax. But if it causes you some discomfort, meaning what you see is not to your liking, then you start to look for other clues. But if you consistently and persistently receive the same type of bliss, then that means you need to sit the fuck down, shut the fuck up, and let whatever's going to happen naturally happen. And you may find yourself more happy than you ever could imagine. So don't fight up against your match. Don't fight against your equal. Identify it. Acknowledge it. And surrender to it. Because sometimes you will encounter a person that can outmaneuver your ass and you will end up surrendering one way or the other. But let it be known, when it's your time to surrender, you need to sit the fuck down, shut the fuck up, and let it happen. And when it's time for you to take the fuck over, then you do so. Hopefully you can do so. But if you can't, that's okay too, because there's always some motherfucking body who can help you with that shit. So if you guys have any questions about control and surrendering, please feel free to hit me up and let me know what you think. But in life, you have to ride the waves, and there's time to be active and there's times to be inactive. There's times to be in control and there's time to be in a state of surrender. And surrendering is not a form of weakness. That's the wrong definition of what I mean. Surrendering is actually very powerful because you are making an active choice to surrender, to receive what is meant for you. But it's very hard for people to receive because most people don't know how to motherfucking receive. A lot of us know how to give. And a lot of us like to take at the expense of others. But when I say receive, when I say surrender, it is another type of receiving. Because you are receiving what is meant for you. And it doesn't take away from the person or the thing that is giving it to you. 9 times out of 10, when we give and take is at the expense of someone or something. But when I'm talking to you about surrendering, it's not at the expense of anyone. Because what you are surrendering to is also benefiting just like you. And if this is too complicated, too spiritual for y'all motherfuckers, I understand. That's cool. Ask a question. You may learn some shit. But what I want you to learn is how to surrender and the right circumstances to surrender to. Now, if you can get that shit, it makes your life a lot more fluid, dynamic, and easy because you cannot control your opportunities and you cannot control your blessings. You don't know when it's going to pop the fuck up in your life, and it may not be an opportune time, circumstance, whatever. But if a smart motherfucker, they'll realize an opportunity, you will grab that shit. Whether it's the ideal circumstance or not, and you will work the rest of that motherfucking shit out. So, until the next time, I'm difficult and demanding.